Hi, my name's Cooper Wood and this is the third assessment task for EDPM202 in the spring semester of 2022. It is important to consider that through creating an understanding of the grammar of games provides educators with the why and how elements of a student's action in movement contexts. This allows teachers to connect different movement concepts into different movement contexts, which will enhance their teaching abilities and improve the learning for all their students. This can be seen in these three different readings provided for you on the screen. At the beginning of this presentation, I will explore the different elements of the grammar of games as a concept through utilising video recordings of a modified volleyball game. Then later in the video, I will provide a screenshot examples of how all four elements of the grammar of games are observed working with each other. The first component of the grammar of games that we are going to look at is decision making. Decision making in movement contexts involves making an appropriate decision at the appropriate time from a range of different potentials that could happen at that time. To effectively make appropriate decisions, athletes will need to observe, analyse and assess play action and the potential of future play based on past actions. Moreover, athletes will need to interpret what is being communicated during play, then perform the necessary movement skills to complete their decisions when needed. The first video we are going to look at on decision making involves the team aspect of force ratio. In the modified volleyball context, this can involve where to pass the ball or strike the ball regarding where the weakness on the other team is. For example, their lack of numbers. In this video, the attacking team uses the ball as another attacker through placing it in a spot where the attacking team is advantaged and the defensive team is disadvantaged. In this clip, the defensive team anticipates the spiker to hit left. The spiker reads this defensive decision, which provides her with the opportunity to utilise force ratio, placing the ball in the open effective play space and gaining a point for her team. Another team aspect of decision making is collective strategy. This is the general and specific instructions that orientate trends related to decision making. Collective strategy also involves the creation of strategies to benefit the whole team through giving individual team members instructions. In this video, the attacking team utilises a specific gameplay configuration to effectively play their point. In this example, the player at the front makes a catch. The first pass is then to the other player at the front, which then allows the hitter to run up and spike the ball. This team decision to utilise the gameplay configuration provides the hitter with more time to count numbers and see opportunities in the opposition's defence. Now that we have looked at a couple aspects of decision making on a team scale, there are a few individual aspects of decision making worth observing. For example, utilising what players have in terms of their ability to complete a movement skill is called utilising resources. In this video, the server's power and ability to hit long serves is used as a resource to score a point off the serve. An individual's cognitive map and knowledge are related to the action rules required to understanding how the game is played. For example, in this video, the attacking team have a good understanding of getting off the court after passing the ball, which aligns with the primary rule of one player on the court while attacking. Furthermore, they are aware of their posture and positioning on the court, where they can follow those primary rules. The next components of the grammar of games, we will examine strategy and tactics. This involves the potential play actions that may occur with or without possession. Here I will examine some of the key aspects of strategy and tactics relating to the whole and sub-team levels. In this example, the striker used deception as he is facing one way but striking the ball the other where opposition players are not. The striker looks one way deceptively, placing his body positioning to the right, but last minute changes the angle of the strike to the left, which surprises the opposing side and gains a point for the attacking team. Furthermore, this video also displays the element of mobility as the striker counts the opposition numbers and effectively takes advantage of their gameplay configuration error. In this next clip, the attacking team utilises opportunity as they take advantage of the opposition error in not actively covering the backspace on their court. The defensive team is bunched together in the middle of court, so the offensive team take advantage of this opposition error and easily place the ball at the back of court. Next, I will replay this clip again as it also displays the team's individual and team competencies. Competencies utilise what the team has in terms of strengths and weaknesses to align with the overall strategies that the team uses. In this clip, the team knows that the back player has a strong strike of the ball, which will create a powerful serve. Also, his height advantage makes him the best resource for the striking position. Therefore, they utilise this player for most of their serves. In these next two videos, I will display the aspect of improvement that displays how the team has gotten better. As the team plays more together, they have become more efficient and adaptable to the game's action and primary rules. This time allows for strategy and tactics to be established, gameplay configuration to be organised, and cohesion to be built within the team. For example, in this first video, the team's collective strategy and competency network has not yet been established, causing the players to have a poor cohesion and structure. However, in this next video, the team has had time to figure it out and their gameplay begins to become much smoother. Next, we are going to look at communication and concentration. Firstly, communication in movement context involves the coding and decoding of movement through verbal and non-verbal cues. Communication helps people make decisions while demonstrating personal understandings and feelings. As educators, we need to understand cues to determine the needs of our learners. In this example, we can see the defensive team player at the front using a non-verbal cue of a finger point to deliver a message to their teammate to cover the back right of the court, to effectively cover their play space and catch the ball to transfer defence to attack. Moving forward, we will look at concentration. Concentration in sport allows us to direct our attention to the relevant objects, thoughts and cues necessary in accomplishing effective movement skills. However, when we are faced with a brand new context, we can sometimes be faced with cognitive overload. This links with the attentional demand bottleneck theory, which explores the notion that when there is too much information, our cognition process slows down and sometimes can be blocked. In this next video, for example, the team does not move off the court after the ball has been passed, causing the player to fail the primary rule of one player on the court at all times in attack. Because there is too many rules, the demand is too high, so the player slows down and is unable to give attention to their next action of getting off the court. This is an example of cognitive overload. Just quickly, in this next video, I will show you communication and concentration linking together. The non-verbal cues of other people's body positioning narrows the attentional focus of the spiker, allowing them to hit the ball into an open play space to score a point for their team. In the next component of the grammar of games, I'm just going to briefly touch on the aspect of movement skill and execution. Now, movement skill and execution is the specific ability to move and perform in game play. For example, movement skill is shown in the modified volleyball game as players use locomotor skills such as running, manipulative skills such as passing and striking, and non-manipulative skills such as bending over, twisting and turning. When looking at these three different components of movement skill, a concept-to-context approach can be considered, as all movement skill has an aspect of transferability. For example, the action of catching is used in a variety of different sports, such as cricket, rugby, baseball, dodgeball, and at Hogwarts in the game of Quidditch. I've explained this because players who have had previous experience in catching sports can easily transfer this concept into the modified volleyball game. Due to this, athletes who have been involved in the catching sports usually hold an advantage over athletes who have not. However, this usually is only applicable to the movement skill and execution component of the grammar of games. This is due to athletes who have not been involved in catching sports, having the ability to hold an advantage in other aspects of the grammar of games, such as in strategy and tactics and decision making. For example, athletes who have had more experience in non-catching sports such as soccer, tennis and hockey can utilise and transfer their knowledge of collective strategies, force ratio, non-verbal cues and their ability to use play action principles such as mobility and opportunity in the game, which will also be beneficial for themselves and their teammate while playing modified volleyball. As we have looked at the elements of the grammar of games in isolation, I will now provide some screenshots with annotations that explain with examples the connection between the elements of the grammar of games. Here we can see the defensive player utilising the locomotor skill of leaping to make a block. This player has had a defensive decision to move up and try and block the spike. The player utilises his resource, being his height, to complete the intended action, and through utilising his resource, the player has demonstrated a recognition of the role in his team, demonstrating his understanding of collective strategy and the team's understanding of their competency network. Next, we can see that the other two defensive players have read the non-verbal cues of the striker's body positioning to make a read on where the ball will land in the court. This allows the other two defenders the opportunity to alter the posture and positioning to make an effective catch and return. Making this defensive read, based on the spiker's body positioning, allows the defensive team to easily shift their attentional focus from a defensive mindset to an offensive mindset. Furthermore, the girl attacking on the back right-hand side of screen is out of play due to the game's primary rules of one player being on the court at a time while attacking. This creates an opportunity for the defensive team to take advantage of the girl's posture and positioning, where they may be able to return the ball away from the girl to the back left-hand side of court. If the defensive team can recognise this and return the ball into open space, they have demonstrated force ratio, recognising where the advantage is at on the court. As a side note, it is also important to consider the connection of the concepts with the officiating side of the game, as officials are equally important in sports than the athletes. In this still shot, the two officials have divided their concentration onto officiating separate primary rules. This benefits the referee's ability to make decisions, as the attentional demand placed upon the referees is halved, as they make separate judgments on separate rules. Furthermore, the referee's method of communication can also be considered, such as, are they using a whistle or are they yelling to award points or penalties? Moving on to our next screenshot, we can extensively see the connection between the components of the grammar of games. The attacking player performing the spike has read the gameplay configuration of the other team, who have positioned themselves on the right-hand side of the screen. The attacker takes advantage of this defensive error and makes a shot that utilises deception, disabling the defensive to catch and return. We can see that his body positioning is aligned to the right, however he makes a shot to the left-hand side of court, away from the opposing players. This demonstrates the attacker's cognitive map, as he knows the positioning of the defenders. Furthermore, he utilises his resources in non-manipulative movement skills to perform the spike adequately. Moving forward, the attacking player at the back of court is displaying the connection between concentration and communication to individual decision making. You can see here that she is focusing on the flight path of the ball, which will ultimately communicate to her who will make the catch. If she focuses on the non-verbal cues of the opposition catcher, she may be able to anticipate who will be striking the ball back to them. This allows the player time to correct her posture and position in relation to where the ball may be returned to. In this screenshot, all three attacking team players are communicating that their attentional focus is on the ball and where the spiker is going to play the shot. However, because of this, the team fails to adhere to the primary rules of the game, where there must only be one player in the court when attacking. This may be due to the intentional demand of players possibly being exhausted. For example, the passer may be focusing on the collective strategy of the team on where to place the ball for the spiker. This inappropriate concentration disallows the team to adhere to the primary rules of the game and their posture and positioning on the court. For example, after passing the ball, both team members should be focusing on getting off the court near the blue circles, and then coming back on the court after the ball has been spiked. In this final screenshot, we can observe the connection between all aspects of the grammar of games from the serving position. For example, the server's serve placement is based off the gameplay configuration of the opposition. The server acknowledges their gameplay configuration through reading the opposition's body positioning. He then uses his resources to serve back left of court. Utilising the server's good serve relates to whole team strategy and the competency of the player's ability to serve the ball in that space. Furthermore, the server needs a narrow focus to utilise his non-manipulative skills to place the ball at the intended target. After the player has served, he then moves towards middle centre, indicating his comprehension of the collective strategy. Moreover, both the offensive girls' concentration is on their own teammates serving. Their gameplay configuration has left a large space in the middle of court. This communicates to the defensive team the possibility of a return to that spot, as there will be an advantage there, which relates to force ratio. However, after the ball is served, the girls change their posture and positioning to support the team's collective strategy. In conclusion, through watching this video, I hope you can now draw connections between the components of the grammar of games. Through this modified volleyball context, we can see how each element of the grammar of games works in association to create movement experiences and shape the way students engage in different movement contexts. Furthermore, through understanding how the grammar of games work together, educators can recognise what aspects of gameplay students can improve upon. Thank you for listening to this presentation. And here is my reference list